Welcome, and this is the 40-something Guy podcast. Hello and thank you for listening to the show. My name is Leandro, but my friends call me Leo, so I figured you guys can call me that too. This is the first episode of this podcast, and it's more of an introduction not only to myself, but also to give you the ideas and the purpose behind this podcast. So, you already know my name, but what you don't know is that me and Neymar, we have something in common, and it is not football. No, it's that we're both Brazilians. That's right, I was born and raised in São Paulo, which is just the 7th biggest city in the world. But for the past 14 years, I've been living in the UK, and for the past 4 years, I have been living in London with my wife and my daughter. Professionally, I work as an operating department practitioner, or ODP for short. If you have never heard of that profession before, congratulations, you are one of many. As an ODP, I work for the NHS, and if you're listening from outside the UK, NHS stands for the National Health Service. It is our public health service that is funded by the government through our taxes, and only a small part of the funding comes from patients' charges, such as dentistry and patients' prescriptions. To give you an idea of the size of the NHS, it is by far the largest employer in the UK, as it employs around 1.5 million people across all of the service, and globally it is the 5th largest, only staying behind the likes of the US Department of Defense, People's Liberation Army in China, the Walmart and McDonald's. So what does that mean for the people that live in the UK? Well, because it's funded by the government and because of its size, it means that the NHS is free at the point of care, as long as you are a British citizen, a legalized immigrant, or even an European. Although for these last ones, because of Brexit, things may change. But you really don't want to get me going on Brexit, believe me. So, what do I do within the NHS? Well, I'm glad you've asked. ODPs are multi-skilled professionals that work in the operating department, also known as theaters, covering one or more of the following areas: anesthetics, surgery, or recovery, which corresponds to the 3 operating phases in surgery, known as pre-anesthetics, intra-surgery, and post-operative recovery. Myself, I work in anesthetics, and although procedures varies from hospital to hospital, I'm usually the person who greets you and have a chat with before being moved into an anesthetic room. We are not doctors, I want to make that clear. We are clinicians, and just so you can understand a little bit what that means and where we stand, we are a bit like nurses in a way. But the difference is that the nurses have a broader spectrum of practice, which gives them the chance to work in many areas, such as surgery, on the wards, at care homes, at the community, at GP practices, whereas ODPs are more specialized in more acute areas of care, such as theaters, ICU, ITU. Some of us play an extended role in A&E, and also resuscitation teams in many hospitals. And I hope I haven't lost you to boredom yet, or took too long to explain about my profession. And if you still feeling a bit guilty because you didn't know what an ODP was, don't worry, because even amongst healthcare professionals in the UK, ODP practitioners are still not well known outside the realms of surgery. But now that you know what we do, you can help us out to spread the word, right? And you may be thinking, that's all very well, but how your profession can lead or have anything to do with podcasting? Well, let me tell you, my friend, it has everything to do with podcasting, because unknown to you, all these people that care for you in the form of doctors, nurses, ODPs, support workers, healthcare practitioners, and allied healthcare professionals comes from the most diverse backgrounds as they pursue other passions besides caring for people. And those passions are expressed in many different fields, ranging from arts, sports, business, and even spirituality, and so on. And to give you an idea of how broad those passions are, I can tell you that some of the people that I worked with were TV presenters working with the famous BBC in the making of documentaries. And another one was a famous comedian while being a doctor, and also it is a script writer and has a movie on Netflix. But some other people weren't as perhaps high profile as those ones, but they were just as passionate in their field, such as the female nurse that is also a weightlifter, or the biomedical scientist which is also an opera singer. So there I was, working alongside all these amazing people, thinking, wouldn't that be great if I could just record and bring their messages out there somehow? And if through that I can also inspire other people to also follow their passions, then I think my job will be done. And I know, it's only me talking here, so far. I'm on my own as I record this, and I'm sure you already noticed that. But that leads to the second reason of why I'm doing this podcast. And besides talking to other people, I will also be talking about a variety of topics that I find common to a lot of us in regards to family, relationship, work, health, spirituality, hobbies, and whatever else I find relevant to you and me. And for those episodes where it's just me talking, I intend to do it in a light, informative, and fun way all at the same time. So don't worry, there won't be lectures from me, but I am planning on a how-to episode around cooking for those of you who aren't a proper master chef around the kitchen. So stay tuned for that one. And that leads me to the third reason why I'm doing this podcast. Because, and although there is this argument that a podcast should be niche, meaning, should be directed to a specific topic. For instance, there are many podcasts out there about business, some other sports and arts and so on. And it's the variety is huge. I kind of disagree with that way of thinking, because I think that we, as people, we're not niche in any way. Just look at yourself. I believe we are a puzzle. We are formed by the pieces of a puzzle, and those pieces together, they form the whole. That is us. What I mean is, we have more than one interest in life. We don't have just one interest in life. We have many interests in life. So why not to talk to all of them, all of those interests, all these things that call to us, instead of just concentrating in one. So that is my rationale behind this podcast. So that's why it's my belief this is a podcast, is a variety show rather than a specific one. In that sense, episodes will be released every fortnight on Fridays to begin with, and hopefully weekly at a later stage. Needless to say that as we grow this podcast together, I am more than happy to listen to your impressions about the show and thoughts about the stories and the things that we cover or talk, or even things that we should cover on future episodes. Talking about inputs, I cannot finish this first episode or this introduction to the podcast without mentioning some amazing people that supported me in one way or another when putting this podcast together. And those are Roberta Cito for the amazing artwork of the podcast. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your hard work. Luigi Cito for your encouragement, and by that I mean the figurative kick in the back when you told me get off your ass and just do it. James Ruzicka for your guidance on structuring my ideas, and obviously my wife for your support, for giving me the encouragement to carry on with this project that I always wanted to do. But not only them, all the other people, my friends, my work colleagues that encouraged me, that gave me support, words of encouragement and excitement about the idea of the podcast. So I really want to say a big thank you for all of you guys. You know who you are, and this is also for you. Thank you so much. And that's it for now. Wow, the first ever episode of the podcast is done. I can't believe that. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And you can follow me on Instagram at the 4040something_guy podcast. Alternatively, you can visit my website at www.the4040something_guy podcast.libsyn.com, where you'll find more content and the show notes and ways to contact me on there too. See you on the next episode, but until then, cheerio!